Hey, it's Sarah from Sarah Yoga. Today's video is all about helping you get a functional, strong, healthy pelvic floor for life, and it all starts with the breath. So this video is just going to focus on teaching you how to breathe well. So all you will need is your yoga mat, and I'll meet you there. Okay, so you can actually do this breathing in any position that you want to, but for the case of this video, we are going to start lying down because it just helps to bring our body in its happy place, its happy alignment. So come with me now, we're going to bring ourselves down onto the floor. So your feet are going to be flat on the floor, hip width apart, comfortable distance from the bum, okay, so, play around with what feels good. And you want the rest of your body to soften into the floor. Now, before we start the breathing, there's one thing I want to bring to your attention, and that is the way that your pelvis is lying on the floor. So ideally, when we're doing this breathing, we want the pelvis in what we call a neutral position. So what that means is that the hip points, so the sticky out bits in the front of your pelvis, are level with the pubic bone at the front, okay? So those 3 points. So you can actually see it as a clock. So if 12 o'clock is just under your belly button, 6 o'clock is your pubic bone, and then you've got 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock is your hip point. You want that clock face to be flat. So you don't want to be pressing the lower back into the floor so that 6 o'clock comes off the floor. So your tailbone will poke up and your pubic bone will feel like it's moving towards your belly button. You don't want that. And in the same way, you don't want 12 o'clock to be above 6 o'clock. All right, so where your lower back comes away from the floor in quite a dramatic amount, all right? So you want to find that flat clock space, all right, or as close as you can get it. Also note, and this is a harder one to correct, whether 3 o'clock is above 9 o'clock or 9 o'clock is above 3 o'clock, and try your best just to level the playing field. Just do your best. This helps to put your body in an optimal posture or alignment, which helps you to breathe. And when you breathe more efficiently, your pelvic floor works more efficiently. All right, so we're going to do 3-part yoga breath. So the first part of that breath, we're going to inhale through the nose. You're going to place your hands on your belly. And imagine you're taking the breath all the way down to your belly button. And then exhale. And let's just keep that going. Inhaling all the way down to the belly. And then exhaling. Now, as you're doing that, I'm going to go through why breathing is essential for pelvic floor, and it's because the pelvic floor is part of our breathing mechanism. Okay, it works with our respiratory diaphragm, and the two work together like a piston, and their job is to regulate the pressure in your abdominals. Okay, and if they do that well, then our organs are really, really happy. All right. So when you inhale, the diaphragm contracts, moves down and widens, and this pulls air into the lungs. Your pelvic floor also moves down and releases, okay? So this allows the pressure to remain the same because both of them are moving down. Now on the exhale, the diaphragm relaxes and moves in and up. The pelvic floor contracts and moves in and up. So it follows the root of the diaphragm. So they both move up and down with the breath together. So it's like two jellyfish pulsing up and pulsing down. Okay, so in essence, through the breath, our pelvic floor is doing its own little mini pelvic floor exercise. So on the inhale, it releases and relaxes, and on the exhale, it draws in and up. Alright, so let's go back to the first part of our full breath. So we're going to extend it. So breathing down to the belly is part one. And now we're going to breathe further up. So as you inhale, I want you to think belly, but at the same time, think side of ribs and back of ribs. So you're breathing outwards as well as downwards. So you can see this breath more like a 360-degree affair. Another way of thinking of it is imagine that you've got an umbrella. Okay, the handle's here and the base of the umbrella's here. So as you breathe in, that umbrella is opening, and as you breathe out, the umbrella is closing. So that might help you to get a feel that the breath not only moves that way, which we all tend to feel, but it also moves outwards and back into the back ribs, or the small of the back ribs. Alright, so the last part of this breath is breathing into the chest. So inhale into the belly, ribs, chest, and then exhale. And the reason this breath is so good, this three-part yoga breath, is that it helps you breathe with your diaphragm. So if you're sensitive, and please don't worry if you don't feel this, you may notice the pelvic floor movement as well. As you inhale, you may notice a little release at the base of your pelvis, and as you exhale, when you come to the end of the exhale, you may notice a sense that things are drawing in and up. So I'm going to do a couple more breaths here. Alright, so just let your breath come to a normal rhythm. Now, if you didn't feel anything, please don't worry, okay? And if you're watching this and you are postpartum, okay, this is going to be, take a little bit of work to get back, alright? So, just one little tip. We're going to actually engage the pelvic floor deliberately on the exhale. So we're going to inhale, we're going to go back to that deep three-part breath. So down into the belly, the ribs, the chest. And then exhale, you're going to go as far as you can. And then we're going to do a little extra pelvic floor exercise. So imagine you stopping the flow of urine, stopping passing wind, and draw that sensation towards the center, the vagina, and then draw in and up towards your belly button. And then inhale, let that go. Now as you do this, drawing in and up, try not to move your pelvis or see if it wants to move. Okay. So when you're drawing in and up, sometimes it's quite useful to imagine that you are drawing a blueberry or something similar in and up towards your belly button. And you may notice that as you're doing this, that you're getting some sensation of drawing in and up around the hip points as well, and that is your lower abdominals kicking in. And they're the third part of the relay team of your breathing system. So you've got your respiratory diaphragm, your pelvic floor, and you've got your deep abdominal muscles, your lower abdominal muscles, or transverse abdominals as they're called. Alright, so we're not going to go any deeper though for today. All I want you to do is just try and get a sense of that natural relationship between your diaphragm and your pelvic floor. So we're going to do one more. Alright, and then just let it go. If you want to, you can just drop the knees from side to side. Alright, and then bring yourself up. So that is the 3-part yoga breath, and it's a great tool to start to get to understand and feel for that relationship between your respiratory diaphragm and your pelvic floor. So give it a go, give it a shot, and if you didn't quite feel anything, please don't give up. Just keep going back to it. Practice it for a couple of minutes today, and I promise you, with practice, that you are going to start to get a feel for that connection.